Is your child struggling with a specific subject or need help with homework? Are they asking questions that you're not sure you can fully answer? IXL Learning is an online learning program for kids. It covers math, language arts, science, and social studies. IXL is designed. This program will improve your kids' grades. Studies done in almost every state in the country. The kids who had IXL are consistently doing better. Powered by advanced algorithms, IXL gives the right help to each kid no matter the age or personality. And it doesn't have to eat up all your time. One subscription gets you everything for all the kids in your home, pre-K to 12th grade. So don't miss out. 1 in 4 students in the U.S. are learning with IXL. IXL is used in 95 of the top 100 school districts in the U.S. Make an impact on your child's learning. Get IXL now. And listeners can get an exclusive 20% off IXL membership when they sign up today at IXL.com/audio. Visit IXL.com/audio to get the most effective learning program out there at the best price.
Stand by for an urgent bulletin.
This is the Bob and Jeff Show, starring Bob Lutz.
Who's better at this job of radio?
You shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
Jeff Lutz.
Really good to great, depending on the day.
Wow! Hey! Isn't that exciting?
97.5 and 1240 KFH.
It's showtime, baby! You go wacko, bananas, nuts, crazy, unbelievable!
Hello again, everybody. It's a Wednesday edition, the Bob and Jeff Show, KFH Radio. Happy to have you along. Bob Lutz, Jeff Lutz co-hosting. Max Bauer is our producer and engineer. 869-1240 is the phone number. What's up today?
Not a lot.
You got a win last night.
Sure
Royals
did.
got a loss.
Twins lost. Royals lost.
Good night for you. That's how you judge this stuff. If you're
one day at a time.
If you're disciplined enough to do it, that's the only way to get through baseball. I'm not, never have been, won't pretend to be.
What do you mean? What's
down
the
as
only
I
way?
can possibly be about being down to the Pirates today. And Martin Perez, who has a 6+ ERA against everybody else and an ERA of nothing against the Cardinals.
Well, he's
in
had
two
some
starts.
success over his career. But yeah, I understand that you would feel upset. But didn't you already take the first 2 of the series?
No, we'll lose 2 or 3.
You lost
That's
the first
correct.
one? Yeah, you lost to Keller. That's right. Well, I'm sorry.
And you beat Skeens and you lose to Perez.
Did you? I get that you say, I don't have any real problem with you saying you beat Skeens.
We beat Skeens.
I don't have any problem with it, but let's examine it a little further. Who pitched for the Cardinals?
Lance Lynn.
Didn't Lance Lynn beat Skeens? Nolan Arenado, I guess, in a way, beat Skeens, hit a home run off of him.
Well, we beat him 2-1. He was outstanding, but we beat him. That's his first loss as a big league pitcher, and I'm confident saying we beat him. And today, Martin Perez, who's nothing compared to Paul Skeens,
he's beating you down.
It's just
and
the game will drive you insane.
3 runs in the series, is that right?
I don't need to talk about it right now.
Well, it's tough.
This is what happened the last time they went to Pittsburgh. All 3 games were low scoring. The Pirates, say what you want, they're coming. If they get any kind of offense to go with this pitching, they're going to be a real problem.
Yeah, they've tried to build some offense with young players, Sawinski and Cruz, and they drafted Henry Davis, and he hasn't been much, and their other catcher, Rodriguez, has been hurt.
They got a good second baseman. What's that kid's name? Rodriguez?
Is it?
Yeah, I believe so. They got O'Neal Cruz. They've got Brian Reynolds. Rowdy Tellez is a good stopgap measure. He just kills the Cardinals. Brian Hayes is not developed as I thought he would. He's regressed.
Still good defensively, but
that doesn't mean a whole lot.
Doesn't hit.
So they lack offense, but
Nick Gonzalez,
they've got
their second baseman,
throughout their team. You get into their bullpen, it's a nightmare. They're going to be really good.
Yeah, they're like you said, they're coming. They're on the cusp. If they can figure it out organizationally and get some offense.
And I can't say that the Cardinals are coming. I'm not sure they're not going. I don't know what
they're coming or going.
What are they doing? Are they just
kind of stagnated a little bit?
What's happened?
They don't have a real direction. It doesn't look like.
They went out and tried to fix their pitching, and to some degree it's been successful. Today they had to go with a bullpen game. They just don't have any pitching depth in their organization. I understand they're trying to fix that. They've got some intriguing guys in the minor leagues, but none of them are ready to.
Well, your best players are your young players, so it's time after this season to get Jordan Walker and just let him play. And
well, I'm not even sure he's going to be a Cardinal after next.
Well, whatever. Put him in the lineup if he's with your organization.
I agree, and leave him alone. Don't say a word to him. Don't let Walker win. Burleson, Donovan, and Contreras,
and / Herrera.
He won't be a Cardinal next week either.
Next week?
They'll trade him.
You think they'll trade him this week?
Yes, I think they'll trade him because he has value as an offensive hitter. Well, he's not a great catcher, but he can hit.
Well, make him the first baseman then. Let him be Goldschmidt's replacement.
Going to be into that role. I'm telling you, I see the future when it comes to this.
Well, they need to commit to it. That's the direction the Cardinals need to take. And if it's a hiccup for a year or two, it won't be any worse necessarily
don't try to tell us what to do,
than the
please.
hiccups of the last 2 years.
Don't try to tell us what to do.
But you know that's what is best for the organization.
Well, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind getting rid of Newt Barr. Wouldn't mind getting. You want Newt Barr?
Not really.
What do you give us for him?
I need somebody. Isn't he a left-handed hitter?
Yeah. What do you want?
We have plenty of those. We need Brent Rooker. That's what we want.
Well, every team in the world wants Brent Rooker from the A's.
That's true.
And we'll see where he ends up. I don't know where he's going to end up. Kansas City was thrown out there by David Schoenfeld on ESPN today.
I wouldn't do that
which
if I were
would not
Oakland.
shock me.
Well, I wouldn't do that if I were Oakland because Kansas City already had him and let him go.
Well, what do they care?
I know, but just the principle of it.
No, it just bothers you because Kansas City.
No, it's just the principle
Here's
of it.
what bothers you.
What?
The Royals have gone out and made things happen. And I don't care what you say, that has gone on. Of all the teams in Major League Baseball, they're supposedly a low-budget team, but their owner, who used to be in Cleveland, that bothers you,
we replaced him. We got a good guy.
Has now stepped up and has shown that he's out to win. And the Royals will make a splashy move at the deadline.
All right.
It may be Pham, it may be Rooker, but it'll be somebody.
They don't have the pieces to get Rooker, in my opinion. They can be outbid by other teams.
Well, we'll see.
A lot of other teams.
We'll
Not
see.
saying they won't make a move, but they'll have to get creative like they did in trading for Hunter Harvey, trading some of their draft bonus pool money. Maybe you do that again for next year's draft if you can.
How do you approach someone like Paul Goldschmidt, he's a borderline Hall of Famer, but he's gone in the tank. He's done. He looks old. He can't hit velocity anymore. There's really not much he can hit. His contract's over. You just say, goodbye, Paul. Thank you for the years, right?
There's no way you need to bring him back.
They're not bringing him back.
There's no place.
I do think they will bring, and he's under contract, so this isn't breaking news, but Nolan Arenado will be back.
Untradeable.
You can't trade him, and you hope that he somehow figures it out. He's not been horrible, but he's not the Arenado that he was his first 2 or 3, 4 years with the Cardinals.
No, and he is a Hall of Famer, I would say. I think Goldschmidt
I wish
will
he'd
get
start
into.
playing like one.
Well, he has. That's why he's going to be one.
I wish he'd.
Everybody declines.
I wish he'd start playing again. He's only 33.
Well, everybody declines. Used to be 30.
You know when I started declining?
26.
Never. Ask anybody.
I've asked a lot of people.
I haven't declined yet.
Not yet. Still going. Still upward mobility for you.
I think so. Here's what we're going to do on the show today. At 2:45, Mike Furchess will join us. We'll talk about a lot of things with Mike. He made a nice post on Facebook, and I appreciate that. 225, I just got confirmation. Zach Bush. We'll kind of recap the aftershocks, where they go from here, and we'll talk with Zach Bush coming up at 225. And at 325, Jim Callis from MLBpipeline.com. You know, I follow him on Twitter, obviously, because I'm completely in on everything he does.
Right.
When it comes to prospects and draft and rankings. And I've always envied him a little bit. He's had a job that I would have loved. In fact, I'm getting kind of angry with him thinking about it.
Well,
He's had a job that I would have absolutely loved.
why didn't you go for it?
I don't know. I love my other job.
Well, then there's nothing wrong with
But
it.
he's been immersed in baseball throughout his career. First at Baseball America, then he's hooked on here with MLB, and just a guy I've really liked for a long time.
Does a great job.
He does a great job.
Trusted voice in the industry.
Yes,
He's one of the immediate guys you go to.
That's correct. And Jonathan Mayo's kind of the same way. They form a formidable tandem.
Yeah, and then Jeff Passan would be another. And
Yeah, but I'm talking these guys. Callis and Mayo work
prospects,
together.
I get you.
Passan's on beyond. He's not doing prospect.
I understand. I'm just saying your trusted voices when you're scrolling and refreshing on July 30th, waiting to see who's reporting on the trade deadline. Jeff Passan will be the guy you look to.
We've had Jeff Passan on this show.
I'm aware.
We've had Rustin Dodd on this show.
Yesterday.
Another national baseball writer. Jim Callis has been on this show. Ryan Fagan, when he was with the Sporting News, was a frequent guest on the show to talk baseball. My next conquer, the next one I'm going for is John Morosi.
Really?
Yeah. He follows me on Twitter. I'm able to message him, and we will have John Morosi on this show at some point.
Sounds good. I'll be ready.
And I will tell him my honest opinion. I love his work on MLB.com. It's one of the highlights, not MLB.com, the MLB Network.
Right.
I love his insight and his inside information.
Yeah, it's all great.
What if I can pull that off?
Well, get it done.
But I ask you, what if I can pull it off?
I mean, moderately
Will that
impressed.
impress you?
I guess a little. If you're just going to send him a Twitter message and hope that he responds, then I don't know.
Well, we'll see. Wouldn't you say that John Morosi is the number one baseball insider today?
No, I think it's Jeff Passan, but
Well,
the
no,
argument.
Jeff Passan's in it, but I'm talking about yeah.
I don't know.
Jeff
yeah.
Passan's certainly right there, but it would be Heyman,
A little.
and of course
Ken Rosenthal.
Ken Rosenthal, still very good.
Stark to a lesser degree. He's not a newsbreaker
Yeah, he's
guy.
more of a
columnist.
finding the feature stuff,
Yeah.
the tidbits, that kind
Right.
of stuff.
And he's still very valuable doing that because it's interesting.
But if we're a show that can say we've had Jeff Passan, Rustin Dodd, John Morosi.
Well, we've had lots of other sports insiders. We've had Howard Beck. We've had Jeff
I'd like
Goodman.
to get Howard back sometime. Howard Beck back. Try saying that 10 times.
We had War.
Hey.
Howard Beck back.
No, 10 times.
Howard Beck back. 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 I think that's about 10.
Say this. Howard Beck back. Can't think of the third word.
It's unfortunate.
If we could get Howard Beck back briefly.
That's
Howard Beck back briefly.
Yeah, that's easy.
Yeah, that wasn't good.
That changes the whole shape of the mouth.
But anyway, I like talking baseball.
Me too.
You know, the NBC World
Usually.
Series kicks off tomorrow at X Stadium. And they're doing baseball around the clock on Saturday. Is there any chance you would do that?
I don't want to say no and sound like a jerk, but it seems unlikely. I've been invited to maybe go see Shannon Great's band on Saturday evening, and I might.
Why am I not invited
I might do that.
to any of this? What happened with me and Shannon?
They're out at Stearman Field.
What happened with me and Shannon?
Shannon and I are a little closer.
What happened, though?
I don't know.
Am I seen as unattainable like that? I'd love to have Bob, but he's probably...
I don't think so. I think
He's probably...
I might be more accessible, but I think that's also...
Well, don't people normally...
friendlier.
Don't people normally say, I'd love to get the president, but I'll go ahead and get the congressman? Isn't that kind of how that would work?
No, I think if you wanted to be accessible, you would. There's no presidential aura around you that I know of. But yeah, I threw it out there to Shannon.
Oh, you threw it out there.
No,
makes sense.
I didn't throw that out there. He invited me unsolicited, but I threw out there that if he worked up the live version of one of these nights, that I would come out and play drums. But I told him
His band doesn't do songs like that.
He said he'll talk to the fellas, and I said you have to pay me $10 so I can say I'm a professional drummer. I should have said $25.
That would not entice anyone to go hear them.
Why?
They would not say, "Hey, guess what? We got Jeff Lutz who's going to play drums on."
I don't think they'd announce it or broadcast it, but it would just be something fun, and I would do a good job.
Well, I'm still bothered that Shannon, who, frankly, you needed time to warm up to. I tried to tell you he was a good guy for years. And you were always like, yeah, but come on. I mean,
well, you tried to kick him off the air yesterday, basically.
How so?
Okay, Shannon. Thanks, Shannon. All right, Shannon. We'll see you, Shannon.
Well, all he wanted to do was talk to you. I get tired of that.
Yeah, well, now you know how it feels.
If you two guys are now the it couple in town.
I wouldn't say that.
Whatever. Who's my person?
Who do you want?
Who's going to invite me?
I think I'm fun to hang out with.
I'll throw this challenge out there. A lot of people have my number. If you want to invite me to something, give me a text right now.
Absolutely.
Or call 869-1240.
Well, that's never happened, but you can always give it a shot. Where's Jim 35?
I don't know where Jim is. I hope he's okay. I can tell you that right now.
We need to check in. We need him to check in with us at least once a month, if not every other week.
Well, it used to be every day.
Yeah, well, that's not necessary, but every other week would be fine.
If he's got something to say.
No, or not. Just check in, make sure everything's going okay.
I don't know. He can call whenever he wants.
Did he call the old show that you know of?
No, I never heard from Jim.
So he must be a fan of mine.
That could be. You've got a lot of them, apparently.
Well, 2 at least.
People that I would have never thought would be in your camp.
Oh, I said.
Here I am. No text, no call.
You've not been invited to anything.
No, haven't been invited to anything. I don't know. I did hear from a friend yesterday inviting me to lunch, which I'm happy about.
Lunch is good. Are you going to take that person up?
We're going Tuesday.
Is that Denise?
No. I got a lot of friends.
Who are you going with?
Nah, you don't need to know.
I don't need to know, but I am.
I don't want to tell you. How's that?
Curious. It's not going to change my life to know or not know, but I'm curious.
I did go meet this morning with Mark Bennett, the district attorney for Sedgwick County, talking about the statue theft and the plea agreement with Ricky Alderetti and the sentencing coming up a week from Friday, and just talking to Mark about all of that and the situation. It was, we got off track a little bit. He was extremely cordial and talked to me for at least 30 minutes. Didn't act rushed. We had a great conversation about a lot of different things as they pertain to his job as district attorney. I'm fascinated by the criminal justice system, and I really got a little bit of an education in the time we spent together.
That's a good opportunity to do so.
It was a very good opportunity. And I'm sitting there thinking, as all this is happening, man, this guy didn't have to do this, but I appreciate his willingness to explain things, to talk about things, to tell me things. He's amongst those who have told me, and I've talked with many in law enforcement since League 42 started, about crime and criminals and what motivates them. And he's the latest to tell me that if we could eliminate fentanyl and methamphetamines from our culture, the crime rate would drop by 50 or more %. Isn't that something?
It's not that I'm not skeptical about that, but it seems like it'll just be the next thing. Like it used to be whatever drug you want to mention. I don't want to demonize anybody.
You can say it'll be the next thing, but he's saying that as it currently stands, if we could eliminate those two drugs and not have replacements, I mean, I don't know, that we would eliminate crime by 50%. And he said if alcohol was never to be consumed, that number would probably be more like 70 to 75%.
Well, there is definitely something to be said for access to the ability to commit a crime. Yeah, there's something there.
Well, it's interesting to me. This is a guy who lives this every day. It was fascinating to hear him talk about it. All right, we'll take a break. When we return, Zach Bush, the coach of the Aftershocks, they are not playing tonight in the TBT. That is Mass Street and Team Colorado for a chance to move on for the $1 million prize. That's happening at 8 o'clock this evening at Koch Arena. The Aftershocks out earlier than they've ever been out. We'll talk with Zach Bush about what happened, what that team might look like going forward. Stay with us.
Selling a little or a lot? Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. From the launch your online shop stage, to the first real-life store stage, all the way to the did we just hit 1 million orders stage. Shopify's here to help you grow. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor outfits, Shopify helps you sell everywhere. From their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system, wherever and whatever you're selling, Shopify's got you covered. Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout, 15% better on average compared to other leading commerce platforms. And sell more with less effort thanks to Shopify Magic, your AI-powered all-star. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the US. And Shopify is the global force behind Allbirds, Rothy's, and Brooklinen, and millions of other entrepreneurs of every size across 175 countries. Plus, Shopify's award-winning 24/7 help is there to support your success every step of the way. Because businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Odyssey Podcast, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Odyssey Podcast now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/Odyssey Podcast.
Is your child struggling with a specific subject or need help with homework? Are they asking questions that you're not sure you can fully answer? IXL Learning is an online learning program for kids. It covers math, language arts, science, and social studies. IXL is designed. This program will improve your kids' grades. Studies done in almost every state in the country. The kids who had IXL are consistently doing better. Powered by advanced algorithms, IXL gives the right help to each kid no matter the age or personality. And it doesn't have to eat up all your time. One subscription gets you everything for all the kids in your home, pre-K to 12th grade. So don't miss out. 1 in 4 students in the U.S. are learning with IXL. IXL is used in 95 of the top 100 school districts in the U.S. Make an impact on your child's learning. Get IXL now. And listeners can get an exclusive 20% off IXL membership when they sign up today at IXL.com/audio. Visit IXL.com/audio to get the most effective learning program out there at the best price.
This is the Bob and Jeff Show.
Joined on the hotline by Zach Bush, the coach of the Wichita State Aftershocks. we thought we'd be talking to Zach today ahead of the championship, not the championship game, but regional final against Mass Street, which is what everybody wanted to have happen. And life doesn't always fall the way we hope. Hello, Zach.
Bob, how are you guys?
We're doing well. So you're coming off a really disappointing loss to Team Colorado, a really hard-fought basketball game a couple nights ago at Koch Arena. What's been the aftershock of that loss?
Yeah, just disappointment, some sadness. It was a really strange feeling. We hadn't lost this early in the tournament since our first year that we played in 2019. And so it was just an unfamiliar feeling. You know, you get to a stage of the game where, you know, you face a little bit of adversity and you kind of just start to replay all the moments in your head of the times we've been in these situations in this tournament and figured out a way to get it done. So you kind of expect that to happen. And unfortunately, it just didn't go our way this time. But, you know, kind of the aftermath of that was just kind of down. Everybody, it was a weird feeling, you know, you know, this isn't the NBA Finals or the NCAA tournament, but it still matters and is important to the guys. And so we all just were a little bit kind of shocked by it, that it went the way that it did. And everybody felt like they were leaving town quite a bit earlier than they were supposed to.
So we've talked about the difficulty of putting together a roster, but I'll kind of try to expand on that a little bit. Is it hard to build a team as opposed to getting the guys who are available, trying to figure out a style of play when maybe you don't necessarily have a whole lot of practice time with a whole team? I'm looking at I really like the 2022 team. I think that's where you guys went farthest when you had Shaq and Clevin, and I think Zach Brown might have been on that team, and it was really defensive oriented, and you kind of won that way. Is there anything to be said for building an identity and a team, or is that just kind of impossible to do?
No, I think there's something to be said for it. I think it's a little bit of a balance of both. You certainly don't want to just be throwing, brand new rosters together each year. You want to have some continuity and some guys that know how to play with each other so you don't have the growing pains while you're playing the games. But at the same time, you've got to go out and find pieces that can score the basketball, and that's kind of the name of the game at the end of this. Like, defense is going to take you, a certain length in this, but at the end of the day, you got to have guys who can put the ball in the hole, and that's what's going to get you over the hump to win. But certainly feel like this year what we were missing was kind of that defensive presence inside, and we knew that going in. We just had a hard time finding a big man, so we were a little bit smaller. That 2022 team had James Dickey that we had brought in, and the fans, really liked him and I think could relate with his style of play. He's high energy, he's tough, can guard multiple positions. So, yeah, that team was really good and kind of the identity we want to have, and then add in the last couple offensive pieces. We felt like we did add that with Jeremiah Martin this year. He was the exact type of guard we needed that could go get his own, create for others. It was just we had a hard time this year getting the big man piece. So hopefully next year, we can kind of put it all together.
Talking with Zach Bush, coach of the Aftershocks, former Shocker player from Goddard, now coaching high school basketball up in Omaha. So tell us about the construction of this team. How does that work? Who's involved in it? Who has a voice on making this roster come together? How soon will that process begin for 2025 if it hasn't already?
Yeah, it's always a collective effort, pretty much between myself, J.R. Simon, Garrett Stutz, and then the core group of players that have played in this with us, with Connor, Marcus McDuffie, Richard. Those three guys have kind of been the mainstays. And then Clevin Hanna's helped out a lot with it. A little bit of Ron Baker here and there. And so it's been a collective effort. It's not just one guy. We may have ideas, Garrett, JR, and myself, but, we don't really know how it feels to the players until we present it to Richard, Connor, and kind of see what they're thinking and what they think the needs are versus what we do. And fortunately, those usually line up well. We see the game all similarly, and I think all are on the same page of what we think we need. And then as far as when it starts, it's hard to say. You got to give TBT a good idea that you want to, especially if you're going to host, that you're going to have a team first of all. And so I think fortunately we've done that pretty consistently, and the guys have wanted to play. So you have a slight idea that you could have, certain 3-4 guys, but then over probably the next, 8-9 months, it starts to progress from there. So we try to let them, have a good break here and get back overseas, start their next season. And you don't want to reach out too early because you don't want to wear them out. A lot of those guys are getting their feet wet in the new spot, and they're already missing home, so you want to give them time to acclimate. So usually around January, we kind of start talking about things a little bit more, maybe in December, and then start trying to piece together the rest of the roster.
So how Wichitans are kind of notoriously picky about their sports and entertainment options and maybe not the longest attention span. Do you feel like this year proved, you got 2 games, all the Kansas teams came here and played. Did this year tell you anything about the legs this thing has in Wichita? Do you still feel like it's a pretty hot ticket? Is the momentum still there? How did you gauge all of that this year?
Yeah, it's hard to say, I think, in some ways, because we didn't get to that. We were right there. Didn't get to that game that everybody wanted, and I think that would have been a really good, measuring stick of, is it still there with this thing? You get the matchup finally that everybody wanted with KU, WSU in Koch Arena, and, Frank Mason playing. So that would have been really cool. Unfortunately, it seems like every year it's either us or them. Somebody's screwing it up. This year that happened to be us. And so hard to say for sure. Obviously we're not, doing 7,000 a game, but we never have in this. It's been typically, it feels like it kind of grows round by round. And a part of that is also the time of the game. So us playing at noon on a Saturday this year didn't help with that. I think the years that we've done really well in attendance, the tournaments typically started on like a Thursday and gone on like a Thursday, day off, Saturday, round 2, regional final game, round 3 on a Monday night. And that's worked really well. And I think kind of kept the excitement. I think it's better when you build into the weekend a little bit. So that would certainly help us out next year. If we are fortunate enough to do it again, I can't say for certain right now it would happen, but I think if the guys want to come back and do it again, we would be able to host it again. But next year would be kind of be able to tell you a little bit more about that. I don't think there's, it's not dying off by any means. It's, maybe a little bit of the novelty of it's worn off a little bit, but I think the fans are always going to want to watch good basketball and good players if we can bring them in. So we've certainly got on our end, try to figure out ways to excite them and keep rejuvenating it. And, we're already talking about ways to do that, whether that's partnering with, the current team and doing a scrimmage of sorts that we sell tickets to where they can see the new players versus us, and maybe bring some past guys in that aren't even playing in TBT, but try to get Fred and Ron back, or, work something out with NIL. Those ideas are already starting to float around.
Zach Bush with us. I think it's also helpful when the current basketball team at Wichita State is having a high amount of success. So that would certainly be an indicator as well, in my opinion. So we had you on to talk about Connor. We had Connor Frankamp on, and we talked with him. He was going to be more aggressive this year offensively. I think you'd mentioned the same thing. I'm not sure it came to pass, but I will say this. It's obvious that opposing defenses go into games with the aftershocks trying to keep him at bay and really to try to keep the ball out of his hands. How do you combat that? How does it work that it's even possible to get Connor more involved, because these defenses are just smothering him?
Yeah, it's difficult.
At least that's the way I see it.
Yeah, and you're not wrong. I think that's part of the reason why, maybe we look at the box score and think like, God, he's got to take more shots. He's got to be more aggressive. But that's not always the easiest when, they're picking him up full court, or they're denying him in the half court, no catching him, or they top block him anytime we try to bring him off a pin down, or anything where he's lower on the floor trying to come higher on the floor. So it has been difficult. It's not like he's just going out there and not shooting the ball. It's just hard to, get him in a position where he, one, has the ball and two, can score it. So part of it's we, probably got to design things a little better and get creative with how we can get him the ball more. In some ways it's difficult because TBT, you have such a, limited amount of time with the guys before you play. So there's not a lot of ability to put in a ton of sets. Anybody, that's played basketball can tell you it takes a little bit of time in playing if you're going to put in stuff, whether that's an offense or set plays. So you don't want to have your guys out there just thinking constantly and trying to remember what you're asking them to run. You more so want to build continuity and familiarity of just playing the game in a healthy way together. Part of it's getting the right guys in that are going to, help get him shots. TBT can be difficult sometimes because it can turn into one-on-one basketball a little bit too much, but the good teams in this seem to stay away from that and just know how to play the game. And that means we're not just going to run one ball screen and then ISO and take a, contested jump shot. It's moving the basketball a little bit, some motion off the ball, multiple ball screens. And that's something I think, when we get the right personnel, will help with that a little bit. I thought it was going to be better this year with Jeremiah, and I think it could have been going forward, but that Colorado team's good, especially defensively, really veteran, physical. Andre Roberson's a former all-defensive guy in the NBA, so it's just a tough matchup. I think in hindsight, we gladly would have flipped 1 and 2 seeds with KU if it meant we could have played the Colorado State team and then the Florida TNT team, but it's the way it goes.
Well, we appreciate the time you spend with us, your availability. I look forward to following your coaching career because you're on a path to do some really good things. Zach, best of luck. We'll visit with you soon.
Thank you, Bob. Always good to talk to you guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right, Zach Bush, the coach of the Aftershocks, the TBT. Again, we have the regional final tonight. KU's Mass Street team against the University of Colorado's Team Colorado.
Yeah, it should be an interesting game. I think KU will win, but...
Well, you said that. You said it won't be close, so...
I think they'll beat them by double digits.
Well, there you go. We'll keep track of it. Later.
Not later than the 80s.
Oh, sure.
I don't think so.
Starbucks came along. Mike Fursis joins us. Mike, what's your guess?
I have no idea.
Well, I said your guess. I'm not. We're not holding you to it. You're not penalized if you don't get it right.
Just make a guess.
I'm going to say 96.
96. I think a little earlier than that. Let's go with 94.
All right, Jeff, what do we have?
First Starbucks in existence, 1971.
You're kidding.
I am not.
Why didn't I know about it?
Oh, probably because it was in Washington.
Seattle.
Wonder how many they had.
It's a good question. I'll have to figure out the franchising.
Mike Fursis joined.
I know the answer to how many they had. When they started, they had one.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's a good deduction. So, are you on your way to visit with family in the Smoky Mountains?
No, we don't leave till about probably 7:30. Hopefully, no later than 7:30. I like driving through the night. So
why?
Why would you like driving through the night?
It's all good. Do what you want to do, but man, I hate driving at night.
I can't see well enough to drive at night.
Less traffic, and taking the back roads. I just feel like it's easier to speed a little bit. To be honest, you have to be a little bit careful, but they don't patrol the highways quite as bad. So, for whatever reason, over the years, I like traveling through the night. So, it gives me time.
I'm more power to you.
Yeah, it gives me time to think and reflect and meditate and all that kind of good stuff.
Hey, Mike, I asked this with all respect and sincerity because yesterday I was talking to my grandfather, who's 89 years old, and he said, I meet his son, my uncle. They live out in Arizona. They meet every Tuesday for Cracker Barrel breakfast, and I'm like, I'd love to get to a point where I can go to Cracker Barrel every Tuesday.
You want to meet me out there on Tuesdays?
I'd also love to get to a point where I can just leave and go to Tennessee. So what has to happen in a man's life to where he can not afford financially these luxuries, but afford in his life to be able to do these things?
Well, first thing I think you probably have to do is retire. that's I worked hard for a lot of years, and I was smart enough to put a little bit of money back, but then dumb enough I wouldn't say dumb enough. My late wife and I, we chose to do a lot of ministry things and give a lot. I mean, we gave a lot of money. And I'm not saying that, please do not, anyone listening, take this wrong. We gave tons and tons of, almost all of our income to do things for the homeless, the poor, the needy, children. We had adopted and raised through agencies like World Vision 11 children, so that's a big deal. But people noticed that, and they blessed us. And they still, I don't ask for it, but, I had a friend in Kansas City. He said, you guys have done so much. Here, I want you guys to go out and have some good time when you go to Tennessee. We had a friend that gave us a condo that we were able to go to Branson last week. I mean, gave us his week in a condo. There's an old saying in the black church and in the church in general, and it's just my belief, Jeff, God is good. And that's how I can do it on paper. It makes no sense. But
works for me.
How long will you be in Tennessee?
I'll be in Tennessee for a week. And then I'm going to go visit my daughter and grandson and son-in-law in Ohio. It's the only time that Sheila gets off to where my wife can do that, and so it's important. It's important to me because she doesn't have family outside of myself. So it's important for me to graft her into my family. So being with family, you can't do that unless you're with family. And I've never been around family. My son's here today doing some work, but my son's it. Everyone else is gone. They're not gone, but they live in Tennessee or Florida or Ohio or someplace like that. So,
say the word "gone" again.
Gone.
Gone.
I love hearing your inflections.
Gone.
So let's get to a pop
we
culture.
Go have dinner I appreciate it when we go have dinner or lunch when I get back. So.
Well, we need to do that. We're going to some of us from the radio show are going Friday to the Pump House. So I wish you were here to do that, but we'll catch up when you get back.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a pop culture question, not really a question, more of an observation. I read that Inside Out 2 has become the most successful animated movie in history. That's just that's amazing to me. Because animated movies have been so popular for so long. What is it about this one?
I would question those numbers because I think of things like The Lion King, and there's other great classic animated movies, Snow White, Pinocchio, and we could go on and on. But there was not as many people to go see those movies at that time, and then the cost of those movies was much substantially less. But that said, In and Out, the first one was so good and so enjoyable that I've not seen the second one yet, but it's on my must-watch list within the next week. I'm taking a nephew to go probably see Inside Out next week when they're in Tennessee. My family loved it when I come to visit because I take them to movies. So,
dang, Mike, you're going to be gone. We can't see a movie. I'm home. I should have hit you up earlier this week. I'm all alone in the house. The girls are out of town this week. We could have seen a movie. I didn't even think
it's the highest grossing animated movie of all time, surpassing Frozen 2.
That's just crazy.
Oh, that's bizarre to me.
Frozen 3 might surpass it.
And I'm surprised that Frozen 2 was number 2, So, Jeff, I want to on Jeff's point. Guess what I went to see night before last? You probably saw it on Facebook.
I did not, but tell me.
It's the most fun movie I've seen all year, as far as fun goes, and I was shocked. I'm asking you because it's the follow-up to the movie you and I went to see, Bad Boys.
Remind me.
Yeah. Bad Boys too.
We did see that, and it was quite good. You enjoyed the fourth installment.
Well, it's the third now. Is it the third or the fourth?
It's the fourth.
It's really fun. I think part of it was I was reluctant to expect anything out of it because Will Smith was in it. There's that Will Smith, attitude now with movies, and I was.
But he's still a good actor.
Well, yeah, he's a good actor, and he's fun in this movie. But Martin Lawrence, people forget how funny Martin Lawrence is at times, and he's back to full form. I was pleasantly surprised. A really good story, was fun, entertaining from beginning to the end. On the flip side, I really liked Twisters, but it was so. I mean, I liked it. I liked it a lot, but I doubt that I would go see it again. But Bad Boys.
Well, what held you back from liking it enough to go see it again?
For one thing, it's not quite the first. The acting is good. It probably has a better story, but the special effects are not good. I think it's the special effects, Bob, that while they're good in this movie, they're not as surprising. You remember in that first movie, you see that cow flying across the truck. It's like, oh my gosh, there's nothing quite.
I think
like
they wanted to make this one a little more realistic.
Yeah, and they did. I think they did. But, Star Wars isn't realistic, but it's still a great movie. That's just my response to the people that want all the realism in a movie. So,
Mike Furch is with us. What about the movie Fly Me to the Moon, talking about the moon landing, which we're celebrating 55 years, the 55-year anniversary. This movie has gotten a lot of notoriety with Scarlett Johansson, Channing Tatum. What do you think?
I think with Scarlett Johansson, Channing Tatum, that's definitely a fun cast. It always does fun movies. I've not seen it yet, but I'm very, very familiar with it. It's on my must-watch list. And
is it out?
Yes, it's out.
Cool.
It's been out at least for a week or two, in fact. And but it looks very good. And the concept, that's kind of my world that I love. Things like Bigfoot, the supernatural, those kind of things are kind of hobby type things and not necessarily believable, but very interesting, very fun. It follows the possibility of, was the moon landing, was the moonshot, was it real, and did the government actually have real ways set up to fake it? And of course, in that there's a love story and things of that nature as well. But it looks to me, it looks really entertaining. So I don't know if it'll beat the classic Capricorn 1 or not, but it looks like it has a chance of doing that.
Mike Furch is with us. I did want to ask you about the death last week of Bob Newhart. It's precipitated my wife and I going back to watch his series Newhart, the one located at the inn in Vermont, because he had the Bob Newhart show when he was a dentist, I believe. This one is he's an inn owner, and we've started watching season 1. And where does Bob Newhart rank with you amongst comedians and then comedic actors?
Well, I mean, Jeff, I don't know if Jeff ever watched anything like Bob Newhart. Our generation, Bob, we know that we watch Newhart all the time. I mean, I
watched Newhart a bunch. I watched a lot of adult shows when I was a kid. Not like adult shows, but shows that, family shows, I guess. I wasn't a stranger to television in my early years.
Okay. Well, that's good to hear. In regards to Bob's question, Bob, as a comedic actor for television, he's top 3 to 5. I mean, you got Carol O'Connor that's up there, but Bob Newhart, he's way up there. Not just in his everything he did was good, but just as a human being, if you look at his life, he's someone that myself, I think probably more than likely you, we can look at and we can respect and appreciate his contribution, not just to the screen, but to life in general, because he genuinely seems like he was a really good, decent guy. And it seems like that's what everybody says about him. So we've had July.
And he understood that sharing the wealth. He wasn't selfish with his, because he created, his shows created a lot of stars, and he gave those people a lot of room to breathe and develop their own characters. I love the guy.
In regards to television, he may be the best. In regards to music, I think it was Harry Chapin. But those two are very comparable. And if you look at the life of Harry Chapin, who did the classic song that he did, I can't remember the name of it.
Cats in the Cradle.
Cats in the Cradle and Silver Spoon. Yeah. If you look at the contributions those two made to society and to their craft, I can't think of anyone that has done what Bob Newhart's done. Keanu Reeves, John Wick.
What made you go to Harry Chapin from Bob Newhart? I'm just curious how your brain works.
I'm thinking of Bob Newhart as not just an actor, but as one who contributed back to his world, who genuinely cared for people.
Gotcha.
And you touched on that. And Harry Chapin was they're very unique in the amount of their lives that they gave back. It was a tremendous amount. It wasn't just you hear Taylor Swift give someone $25,000. My thought process is whoop-de-doo. It's like me giving somebody $5 or less, maybe $1. But Chapin and Newhart, those two, it was substantially more than that. They gave more than money. They gave of their own lives in service. So you'll never hear me say anything negative about Bob Newhart. I can't imagine thinking that. So,
all right, Mike. Good luck on your travels. Beginning tonight, you're going to drive through the night to the state of Tennessee to visit family. Hopefully, we can get you on next week as well. Summer's winding down. We look forward to our visits. Thank you, Mike.
Appreciate it. Bye.
Mike Furchess with us, as he is most Wednesdays. Let's see. We got next Wednesday. We don't have a show.
That's correct.
Let's get him on a different day. Oh, my goodness. The day after the trade deadline, people are going to be robbed from hearing my thoughts?
I guess so.
Well, that's just terrible.
Well, it'll be while we're on the air. Isn't that when the deadline is?
Well, that'll be terrible.
The day before.
Maybe we can give some thoughts then. I think 4 o'clock's the end of it, though. There'll be things happening.
There will be a lot of things happening, and we'll be 5 o'clock Central.
Well, that's terrible.
Is the
people are going to want to hear what I have to say about it?
Well, we'll get some in real time. We'll get some.
But do you understand what I'm saying?
That have happened? Not really. Yeah, we'll be able to talk as much trade deadline as we can.
I don't know about. Maybe they'll want to hear what you have to say, but
I don't know why they wouldn't.
But I just feel like they'll want to hear what I have to say about it.
I'll bring it to you honestly. You'll be, what a great move by the Royals to.
Well, who got Tommy Pham yesterday? And wasn't that something when Rustin Dodd came on?
Well, that's been out there. I've heard Tommy Pham mention that's a realistic target. There's no put yourself out there. Why don't you make a bold prediction?
Brent Rooker to the Royals.
For who?
They'll figure it out.
All right. The A's are pretty dumb when it comes to trades, so they might be able to put something together.
Maybe MJ Melendez and somebody else in a package.
MJ Melendez would be potentially a guy that you could start that with.
Right. Thank you.
Potentially.
See, you try to act like I don't know anything, but I don't know. The real world slaps you in the face.
I don't know if it's the real world. Were you trying to quote me from our promo?
No. Did you say slaps you in the face?
Something about the real world. It might be slaps you in the face, something like that.
I never heard it until
we play that promo all the time.
No, the real world. I'm talking about the real world.
I think slaps you in the face is what the promo says. Maybe Max will find it.
When we come back, we'll have hour number 2, which will include a visit with Jim Callis, MLBpipeline.com. We look forward to talking to him about the Major League Baseball draft, prospects, where teams line up, what might happen at the trade deadline with some of these prospects. We'll spend a good amount of time with Jim Callis. Stay with us.
Boys and girls. It's wild, it's wacky, it's slick, it's savvy. It's the Madcap Daffy, fractured, ding-a-ling, ring-a-ding, loony, zany, side-splitting, rib-tickling, slap-happy, scuzzy, dreary, irksome, tedious, banal, pointless, smutty world of
The Bob and Jeff Show, starring Bob Lutz.
Let's be real. I'm all about being real. Well, I mean, I'm real all the time.
Dynamic, isn't it?
Jeff Lutz.
Let's be real.
Me likey.
97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Stand by for action.
Welcome back. Hour number 2, the Bob and Jeff Show, KFH Radio. I'm Bob Lutz, Jeff Lutz co-hosting, Max Power. Producing, engineering, 869-1240 is the IHOP hotline. Cardinals today lose. They draw 9 walks, add in 6 hits. Leave 11 on base, hit into 3 double plays, and get shut out.
Not great.
First time ever with that many walks that a Cardinals team has been shut out.
Really? First time ever. That's crazy.
9 walks.
Yeah.
You go into a game saying we're going to walk 9, how many runs you planning to give up?
4 at least.
Double digits.
No.
If a team's any good.
I don't know if they should score 10, but they should score 1.
ESPN, as it is prone to do in these summer months, likes to run lists. They did the 100 greatest athletes of the 21st century. Today they're out with a list of the 25 greatest football players of the 21st century. And I've asked Jeff to weigh in on who might be in the top 10. And
I want. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a list of 25, and I have 24 right now. And we're going to go down the list and see how many
You've already looked.
No, I have not.
You're on your phone.
I'm looking at something else.
I don't know what you're looking at. I hope you haven't cheated.
I have not cheated.
All right. Let's go.
But I need one more, and that's going to be that person right there.
Give me someone on your list.
All right. Champ Bailey.
Champ Bailey. Someone you believe is a top 25 player of this century.
Yes.
Champ Bailey. I'm through number 17, and I'm now through number 20, and I just got to number 23, and now we're at 25, and there is no Champ Bailey.
Well, that's a terrible list because he was a first ballot Hall of Famer, and that's stupid. That's a bad list.
Well, I don't know what to tell you. First 5 out. Well, was he on the first 5 out?
Are you sure he's not on the list?
He was not.
You sure?
I'm 100% positive.
It's a really stupid list then. How about Rondé Barber?
Rondé Barber. What are you starting with? Why don't you knock out some of the obvious ones?
I'm just going down the list.
You're terrible. You're looking terrible here. Rondé Barber's not on the list.
Another first ballot. Okay. I mean, it's a bad list, and that's fine. No Rondé Barber.
No.
Tom Brady.
Now you're... Yeah.
I'm just going down my list.
Number 1.
Peyton Manning.
Yes. Number 4, I believe.
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers, number 9.
Ed Reed.
Ed Reed. That's, you would think Ed Reed for sure.
You would think.
I'll need a moment.
Best player I've ever seen, and I don't even know that much about.
Best player you've ever seen,
and I don't even know that much about football. But yeah, he's the best player I've ever seen.
Ed Reed is number 11.
Well, too low. Ray Lewis.
Ray Lewis is number 8.
I don't like that pick, so I'm not going to say that one yet.
Say it.
I don't think he played much in this century, but Will Shields.
Will Shields not on the list.
He's not.
No.
Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes. What do you think he is?
He should be in the top 10.
Number 2.
Okay. Adrian Peterson.
Adrian Peterson, guest here. Adrian Peterson is he here? He's number 18.
Travis Kelce.
Travis Kelce, mentioned by Jeff, amongst the top 25 players of this century. ESPN ranks him number 14.
Again, a guy I don't know how much of his contributions. This guy probably won't be on the list, but he did some in the 21st century. So Marshall Faulk.
Marshall Faulk, no.
He's not on it?
No.
He should be. Dwight Freeney.
Dwight Freeney is not on the list.
Well, this list is stupid. You'll tell me who I missed when we... Darrelle Revis.
Darrelle Revis. Revis Island. You're putting out there.
Yes.
Darrelle Revis, I know I saw his name, number 10.
Joe Thomas.
Joe Thomas is not on this list. When are you done?
You sure?
Yes.
I thought I saw him when you were scrolling by earlier.
Don't be looking.
Calvin
Don't
Johnson.
be looking over here.
Calvin Johnson. I already have my list.
Joe Thomas, by the way, 23.
Thank you.
So that's a cheating.
No, I have my list. I haven't changed my list.
Who was your latest?
Calvin Johnson.
Calvin Johnson is on the list.
I would hope.
Number 6.
Charles Woodson.
Charles Woodson is on the list. Number 12.
Tony Gonzalez.
Tony Gonzalez. Did he play enough in this century?
I think so.
Are you sure?
Well, he was in the Super Bowl
Are you sure?
7 years ago.
Tony Gonzalez, number 24.
This is a couple here a few actually. This is going to get dicey. Randy Moss.
Randy Moss?
Yeah, he was played in the early 2000s. He had that huge year with New England in 07.
Randy Moss is number 5.
Terrell Owens.
Terrell Owens. Oh, now you're getting dicey.
A little bit.
Now you're reaching. Terrell Owens is number not on the list.
Stupid. Derek.
Let me make sure about that. You're looking at the list.
I have my list. I am not changing my list. I'm seeing how my list did shortly prepared. But I want to see how my list did against the list of ESPN.
Next.
Derek Brooks.
Derek Brooks was down the list, but he did make it at number 25.
Really? Zach Thomas?
You already said him.
No, I didn't.
You said Joe Thomas.
I did.
Zach Thomas, not on the list.
Steve Hutchinson?
Not on the list.
So just no offensive lineman?
Those two aren't on the list.
Troy Polamalu.
Number 16. Did you see it?
No, I wrote
How many
down.
more you got?
That's my last one. This is 25. I've missed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Drew Brees.
Drew Brees is on. Oh, Marshall Faulk was on the list.
Thank you.
My bad. At number 21. Drew Brees is number 15. Do you want to know who you missed?
Yes,
now?
but I want to tell you who I missed.
No, I don't want you to say a word.
I missed Terrell Owens, Steve Hutchinson, Champ Bailey, Rondé Barber, Will Shields, and Dwight Freeney.
All right, you missed number 3, Aaron Donald.
Yeah, that was stupid. I didn't get to look as much at current players, but that was a bad omission.
You missed number 7, J.J. Watt.
Okay.
You missed number 13, Rob Gronkowski.
That's a bad one.
You missed number 16, Troy Polamalu.
I just said him.
Oh. You missed number 17, Brett Favre.
Really? 21st century?
You missed number 19, Michael Strahan.
Thought about him, but again, I thought a lot of his damage was done in the 90s.
You missed number 20, LaDainian Tomlinson.
Yeah, that's a bad omission.
You missed number 22, Warren Sapp.
Nah. I like Champ Bailey more than I like Warren Sapp.
Those are the ones you missed. Those who just missed out, according to this list, Jonathan Ogden, Larry Fitzgerald, Orlando Pace, Marvin Harrison, and Terrell Owens.
Well, there you go.
That's a pretty good group of...
those guys are all first ballot Hall of Famers, 26 through 30, but didn't play their entire careers in this century. But Jonathan
Larry
Ogden...
Fitzgerald did.
Yeah, well, he should probably be on the list. So should Jonathan Ogden. And to have no Champ Bailey is just insane.
Well, I don't know what to tell you.
Just insane.
It's not my list.
I need to hear from a Broncos fan or a Washington football team fan who feels the same way I do about
They have a name now, the
Champ
Commanders.
Bailey. They do.
Not the Washington football team anymore.
It should be.
Really? Over Commanders?
Nah, Commanders is kind of boring. I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way about the Guardians, but I like the Guardians.
Guardians is fine.
It's an okay name.
It's not like the Cardinals.
It's almost exactly like the Cardinals.
Well, but the Cardinals has such an unbelievable history.
And yeah, there was some foresight calling your team the Cardinals instead of after a race of people, which is going to ultimately
I love the Cardinals.
Not work out well for you.
I still love the Cardinals. But you know who I've gained an appreciation for?
The Reds.
The Royals.
Oh, God. I mean, I get
because
why.
I've gotten to know some of their people.
I get why. I
They've
understand.
supported League 42 in a big way. I'm going to Kansas City to be a guest speaker at one of their, I don't know what, I have to get more information. But in the middle of August, I'm going to Kansas City.
Is a Royals event?
Yeah, to talk about youth baseball and organizations. And
wow.
Thank you. Is that sincere?
I mean, I feel that way, but it's just I don't.
Is that sincere?
It's a sincere feeling. It wasn't a sincere expression.
But you feel it.
Yeah.
What do you feel?
That's cool. That's exciting for you. Have a good time.
That's it?
Yeah. No, that's what I say. I don't know.
They invited me to do that. So I think that's pretty impressive that they would do that. That they would think of me to be involved in this what's the word I'm looking for?
Endeavor?
This
initiative?
Yeah, something like that. This I can't think of the word.
Oh, God, I don't know what you're trying to
Not
say.
Meeting. This
luncheon, gathering.
This whatever. I don't know what to call it.
All right, I don't either.
But I'm going to look it up at the break and let you know.
Thank you.
Are you good with that?
That means a lot to me.
Let's take our break. Jim Callis joins us next. We'll talk MLB draft, prospects, much more with one of the most informed guys around baseball, Jim Callis. Stay with us.
Selling a little or a lot? Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. From the launch your online shop stage, to the first real-life store stage, all the way to the did we just hit 1 million orders stage. Shopify is here to help you grow. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor outfits, Shopify helps you sell everywhere. From their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system, wherever and whatever you're selling, Shopify's got you covered. Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout. 15% better on average compared to other leading commerce platforms. And sell more with less effort thanks to Shopify Magic, your AI-powered all-star. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the US. And Shopify is the global force behind Allbirds, Rothy's, and Brooklinen, and millions of other entrepreneurs of every size across 175 countries. Plus, Shopify's award-winning 24/7 help is there to support your success every step of the way. Because businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Odyssey Podcast, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Odyssey Podcast now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/Odyssey Podcast.
Is your child struggling with a specific subject or need help with homework? Are they asking questions that you're not sure you can fully answer? IXL Learning is an online learning program for kids. It covers math, language arts, science, and social studies. IXL is designed. This program will improve your kids' grades. Studies done in almost every state in the country. The kids who had IXL are consistently doing better. Powered by advanced algorithms, IXL gives the right help to each kid no matter the age or personality. And it doesn't have to eat up all your time. One subscription gets you everything for all the kids in your home, pre-K to 12th grade. So don't miss out. 1 in 4 students in the U.S. are learning with IXL. IXL is used in 95 of the top 100 school districts in the U.S. Make an impact on your child's learning. Get IXL now. And listeners can get an exclusive 20% off IXL membership when they sign up today at IXL.com/audio. Visit IXL.com/audio to get the most effective learning program out there at the best price.
This is the Bob and Jeff Show.
Jim Callis with us from MLB Pipeline, one of the world's foremost authorities on Major League Baseball, the draft, prospects. Jim, how are you?
I'm doing good. Has it really been 35 years since we were covering Shockers College World Series championship? That's like a very long time
I was a young man then.
I was too.
You
I
were a
wasn't
baby.
even married. I didn't have. I have 4 kids who graduated from college now. Like I wasn't even. I hadn't even met my future wife then. So,
I wondered who that guy was in the crib covering the College World Series. Must have been you.
Yeah, I guess.
Let's talk about the recently completed Major League Baseball draft. Let's go to the Royals. They had another high pick, and they picked the slugger out of Florida. Tell us about him and his track to get to the big leagues.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Jack Caglione, who they took out of the University of Florida, number 6 overall pick, might be the most famous guy in the draft. He's a two-way guy. I don't think he's going to two-way as a pro. He can hit 99, and he's got a pretty interesting changeup on the mound. He's just too valuable as a hitter. I think it's a lot. Shohei Ohtani makes two-way stuff look too easy. And it looks like Caglione might have been hurt at the College World Series his last pitching outing. He was throwing like 88 and came out after an inning. But he's probably the most famous guy in the draft because of the two-way exploits. I think he's the most physically imposing hitter in the draft. 6'5", 250, second in the nation with 35 homers this year. Led the nation with 33 homers last year. Pretty athletic for a guy as big as he is, and he can just obliterate balls. The one question with him, or the biggest question with him, and it's kind of an interesting one, is he chases a ton of pitches. I think his chase rate was something like 38%. He swings at pitches outside the zone. But I don't know, it's just because he's so big and he has such long arms and he covers the plate so well. His strikeout rate was only 8%. Now, I'm not a big data guy. I don't think you can find anyone in the big leagues who's got two numbers that extreme where they're chasing that many pitches but never strike out. And so he'll probably need to tighten the strike zone up a little bit, but it's a huge upside pick. I don't think the Royals thought he was going to get to them at 6, so I think that was a very pleasant discovery for them.
I wanted to ask you, Jim, about Emmanuel Rodriguez because he plays here in Wichita, and we thought he would be here in Wichita for a short time because he would get called up to AAA and then maybe even the big leagues, but he was here a short time because he's injured, hand, wrist injuries. So how much do you think that could hurt his development, if at all? He's so advanced as a hitter and such a good offensive player. What do you think he would have needed to work on for the duration of this year, and does it hamper his development at all?
Yeah, well, I think, and this is going to sound funny after what you just said, I think his biggest need, honestly, was to stay healthy and get a full season of at-bats. He's never had more than 354 at-bats in a season. He's never played 100 games in a minor league season. He's in his 4th year as a pro, and he's exciting. I mean, it's plus power. He does strike out, but he draws a ton of walks. He's a solid runner. He's a pretty good athlete. Like, I think, honestly, he's probably, I'm trying to look and see where we have him ranked on our top 100 prospects list. We have him ranked at 26, which is pretty high. But I actually think, like, the average fan doesn't know as much about this guy as they should just because he's been hurt so much. So, I honestly think at this point, he's still young. He signed internationally. I think he's 20 years old and ahead of the game for what level he's at. But he needs to stay healthy and get at bats. I mean, it's not as drastic, and I'm not saying his ceiling's as high as this guy, but it's kind of like Byron Buxton with the Twins. Like, Rodriguez is very, very exciting when he's on the field. He just, isn't on the field on a regular basis often enough. Talking
with Jim Callis from MLB Pipeline. Okay, I'm going to jump right to it. I want to know about your thoughts on J.J. Weatherholt. But before you get into that, we've seen Paul Skeens just take MLB by storm. He's been incredible. I texted my son yesterday that this guy might become the best ever. I don't know. He certainly has that kind of look and stuff. So of all the collegiate players who were taken this year, and the first 8 are college players, who's closest to the big leagues making an impact?
Closest to the big leagues making an impact is probably he might get slowed down a little bit just because of the team he's on. But I think Travis Bazzana is is the purest hitter in the draft, and those guys tend to move the quickest. That would be my pick. I think Charlie Condon's the best player in the draft, and the Rockies aren't as deep as the Guardians, so maybe he moves a little quicker than that. I mean, I do think a lot of these college guys, pretty much taken with the first, 7 picks especially, are all, advanced hitters or pitchers in the case of Hagen Smith and Chase Burns, that they're all going to move pretty quickly. I would put no one, and I know you weren't, Bob, I wouldn't put any of those guys in the class of Skeens, because, again, I was dating myself when I came on and I was talking about covering the 1989 College World Series. I've been covering prospects for 36 years now, and the only 2 pitching prospects as good as Paul Skeens, the only 2 guys I'd put in that class are Mark Pryor and Steven Strasburg. And like Paul Skeens, they got to the big leagues almost immediately. And when they got to the big leagues, they were almost immediately as good as any pitcher in baseball. I mean, right now I'd take Paul Skeens over any pitcher in baseball if I had to win one game to save my life. So we won't necessarily see a guy impact like that. Like that's about a once-in-a-decade type of draft. But I do think these guys will move quick. And getting to Weatherholt, who went the pick after Caglione, and he went 7th to the Cardinals, it's the same thing. I don't think the Cardinals could have expected to get him. I actually think JJ got a little underrated this year. He came into the year, he was our top-ranked prospect in the draft coming into the year. Then he missed half the year. He got hurt his hamstring, which he had hamstring issues last year as well. Hurt it in the first series of the year and missed half the season. And so, a year ago, he led the nation in hitting. And I think had he been healthy for the full season, you saw the crazy numbers. This is probably the most offensive year I can remember in college baseball. He would have put up crazy numbers like Condon and Caglione and Bazzana and the rest of those guys too. Instead, he put up merely good numbers in half a season. I don't think there's a big difference between him and Travis Bazzana, who went number 1. And I like Bazzana. I think they're similar hitters. I think Bazzana's got a little more power. I think Weatherholt's got a little more athleticism to him and a chance to play shortstop. I don't know that he sticks there, but I think he's a better second baseman than Bazzana. So I think they're very comparable players. So I think the Cardinals got a guy who you could argue if he had been healthy this year, and he was not because of the hamstring, might have been the best player in the draft at number 7. So I think both the Royals and the Cardinals got players at 6 and 7 they couldn't necessarily have counted on getting and have to be thrilled that they got those guys.
So since Bob asked about the Cardinals, I'll ask about my team, the Cleveland Guardians. And, I know it's not all about performance, but we've seen guys that were sort of on the radar, sort of not. Angel Janau, Cooper Ingle, C.J. Kafis have these really good years, and a lot of their top, at least position player prospects, are having pretty good years. Does that change the look or the thoughts about what Cleveland's farm system is? And I guess the second part of that question is, do you think they're stocked enough to where if they make a couple trades to add at the deadline that they'll still be okay?
Yeah, I mean, I do think that their system has gotten a boost, and you cited some of the guys, Janau, Kafis, Cooper Ingle, who've had really nice years. Kafis and Ingle were 2 guys that drafted last year. Janau was signed internationally a couple of years ago. The interesting thing about their system is there's not a lot of pitching, though they're known for developing pitching. It's very hitter-heavy, the system is. I mean, part of that's because Daniel Espino, who's arguably the best pitching prospect in baseball before he got hurt, has been hurt. Now, I do think they're in position to make trades because, A, they do have those hitters, and B, I mean, they were in a position this year that nobody's ever been in before. They had the number 1 pick, and they had a bonus pool of when you count in the 5, I think it was $18.5 million, which was a record. And they could probably, if you count the 5% overage, you can spend over your bonus pool in the draft without losing picks. That gets them to $19.5 million. That doesn't even count round. They could probably spend $20 million on this draft, and they invested heavily after taking Bazzana in several high school pitchers, starting with Braylon Doty in the supplemental first round. So they tried to address that pitching shortfall. But yeah, I think they could definitely. I don't know that they have a lot of pitchers teams are going to come after, but they could certainly. They have a number of position players they can trade, and they have the depth to hang on to. Depth to give them up. And while they'd be missed, and you never love trading prospects, it's not like it would leave the cupboard bare.
Talking prospects with Jim Callis from MLB Pipeline. So it just feels to me, we got the trade deadline coming up next week. It feels to me like the Orioles kind of have to go all in. They have the best system in the game. I think everybody kind of agrees on that. Do you agree with me that they're going to make some things happen and try to bring in somebody that can they believe can put them over the top?
I don't know if they will. Mike Elias has done a really nice job building the organization up. He's also been very patient, or you could say conservative, in terms of making trades. When they got Corbin Burns in the offseason, they gave up Joey Ortiz and DL Hall, who were kind of good prospects, but not like the cream of Baltimore's crop. They were kind of blocked. I always thought Hall was more reliever than starter. They had a million infielders, so where was Ortiz going to play? So it was easy to kind of give those guys up. It wasn't like you were really going to feel that one. I do agree that they have depth. They have more players, and they have spots to play them. I agree that they should make a trade, and I agree that they have the prospects to make a blockbuster. Like if they if they want to go out and get Scooble, or if they want to go out and get Crochet, I think they could trump anybody's offer. Like they have the talent, they could trump anybody's offer. It's just, will Mike Elias pull the trigger? And but they're getting to the point where guys are starting to get backed up as they get to AAA and trying to crack the big leagues. I don't think they'd trade Jackson Holiday. That would shock me. I don't think that would happen. But they've got Samuel Basayo, who's a catcher, and Kobe Mayo, who's a third baseman, who are two of the best prospects in baseball. But both of them might wind up being first baseman in the long run, regardless of having, Rutschman there and more infielders than you know what to do with. So maybe you trade one of them. They've gotten Colton Cowser and Heston Kjerstad to the big leagues, but they have a bunch of outfielders in the big leagues. It's hard to play them all. Maybe you could trade one of those guys, and then you package him with the third guy, and that's a pretty good start to getting a Scooble or a Crochet. So I agree with you, except I'm not. I think they should make a deal. I don't know that they will make a deal. We'll have to see.
Boy, Scooble, Burns, and Rodriguez, pretty dangerous in a postseason series.
I agree, and I wouldn't just give prospects away, and just because you have a backlog of prospects doesn't make them less valuable to you because you don't have a spot to play them. But I agree. I mean, I think you're kind of at the if you got a Crochet or Scooble, you'd also, it's unlike Burns, they aren't going to be a free agent at the end of the season. You'd have some control over them too. I'm with you. I would. I'm not saying I would just blow all the prospects out and make 18 trades, but if I could find another guy who would be a formidable playoff pitcher, I would pull the trigger.
Well, good stuff. I really admire your work. I follow it very closely, as does Jeff. We are big baseball people, as you know, and thank you for coming on, Jim.
Oh, always good talking to you. It brings back fond memories of Rosenblatt Stadium every time I talk to you, Bob. So good chatting with you. No, that's the best. I agree. I got to get back to the College World Series. The problem is now with the draft combine, it's hard for me to go to the College World Series. I haven't been in 5 years. I need to get back to Omaha.
Well, Omaha's great, but there'll never be a setting like Rosenblatt. It was just amazing.
I agree. Well, you guys take care, and we'll talk some more baseball again soon. Thank you. All
right,
Bye-bye.
Jim Callis from MLBpipeline.com talking prospects. I could do that all day. And I know you could.
Interesting stuff.
869-1240. Nobody's texted or called to invite me anywhere.
Must not be a lot of goings on in the Wichita area.
You've got an invitation from your friend Shannon to go watch him and his band, The Band,
yes,
BANNED, perform at where?
Stearman
Airfield on Friday night. Saturday night.
Yeah. We'll probably do that.
They used to book real venues, and now they're playing airfields.
Stearman's a nice place.
How do you like that? That's me.
That's why you don't get invited to anything.
I love Stearman. Okay? Understand
Apparently
that.
not.
I did kind of wish I hadn't said that.
You denigrated Shannon, and you denigrated
I did,
Stearman.
and I regret it.
Unfortunate. Now do you wonder why you weren't invited?
I don't know. I think Shannon probably chuckled at that. But maybe not enough to actually extend an invitation.
He probably took it deeply personal.
I first met Shannon, I believe, when he played a bar in Derby called the Top Derby, something like that.
I don't know.
Way back.
Really?
Yeah, way back. At least 20 years. And I think probably more.
He's in his 50s.
Yeah.
He's an old man.
So that's my first crossing paths with Shannon.
I got you.
I don't remember if they brought me on stage that night or not.
I remember that they didn't.
What do you mean you remember that they did?
I wasn't there, but my memory is pretty clear on stuff like that. They did not.
Well, I don't know. I have a recollection. You know who did bring me on stage? Why do you get so...
Well, you did the same thing when I said I could play the drums with the band on one song. Probably not going to sing it, though.
Well, I sang it.
I know you think I already suck as a singer. I'm not that bad.
I don't think you're a terrible singer.
But when I'm playing drums, I'm not as...
I don't think you're a terrible singer. I just don't think you're as good as me.
Fine.
At least in my prime. I don't know if I'm in my prime anymore because I never have the opportunity.
Does it impress you that I can sing and drum at the same time?
A little bit.
Thank you.
But I used to go karaoke at least a couple times a month back in the day.
Thinking about...
you understand? Please listen to what I'm saying.
I am, and I'm responding to it in a way. We're thinking about David Michael Hahn and I kind of extending that Friday evening and maybe finding a karaoke spot. Or
what do you mean extending that Friday evening?
Because he's coming to the Pump House.
Why?
Because he's part of the show.
Well, that's a very loose...
He's hosted multiple times, like 4 at least.
Well, so is
the big fella, and is he not invited?
I haven't done that yet. I need to invite him.
I think he should.
Is Duda for sure going?
I haven't asked him. I really don't care, to be honest, but I'll...
Why is that? Why are you turning against Duda?
I'm not really turning against Duda, but Duda seems like he's distancing himself from us in a way.
That's just the aura he gives off. That I'm a little bit too good for this.
But
that's just Duda.
I suppose.
He's down to earth. But when it comes right down to it, this radio show is just a small slice of his life.
Yeah, does
and he'll be glad to tell you that.
Of course he would.
To him, it doesn't matter.
Right.
To him, this radio show could go away tomorrow, and you know what? He wouldn't lose a minute of sleep.
Any sleep.
He honestly wouldn't.
I know. Would you?
Sure. I've been doing radio for a quarter century.
It's been a while. Can you believe I've been, quote unquote, doing radio on KFH for over 14 years?
What do you call doing radio?
Just saying with Jeff and Jamin. Started in 2011.
Did that count?
I was on the radio. I don't know why I wouldn't.
Let's ask the real radio people.
Well, there are people who have weekly shows on like KNSS and stuff, I assume. Are they not in radio or on the radio?
Listen, if the real radio people are willing to give that to you, I'll go with it.
Well, I've been doing daily radio for nearly 9 years.
Right.
Which is also a significant amount of time.
And you did production, although very loosely.
I didn't produce anything.
Yeah, I don't know why we called you the producer. All you did is answer a phone.
Yeah, I didn't produce
not a thing you produced.
Nothing.
Never got a guest.
Never?
No. I mean, you never did anything. I kept wondering why in the world you and the commissioner were involved in that.
Well, there was not a nothing paycheck involved in that endeavor.
They paid you.
Yeah.
Which I couldn't believe.
And it wasn't nothing.
Well, there was a time when I got paid quite a bit to do radio.
Yeah, I didn't get paid quite a bit by any stretch of the imagination.
I don't get paid quite a bit now.
But as someone in their 20s, it mattered.
Maybe I'll... now you've got me into the idea where maybe I'll ask for a little bump.
Oh, well, if you ask for it, I get it too.
No, I don't think so.
I have the favored nations contract.
What would that conversation be like?
I don't know.
Because it would put Tony in a terrible
I've done
spot
it before.
if we both went in and said, Tony, I almost bet that he would say, well, we'll see what we can do. As we left, he'd say, Bob, can you stay? And he would say something like, man, I want to give you a raise, but I got to figure out how not to give Jeff one.
The last raise we got, I did that. You're welcome.
No, that was me.
No, it wasn't. You weren't on the show.
What do you mean I wasn't on the show?
That was the time you took your hiatus And I said, Tony, if I'm going to do this every day, I'm going to need a bump. He said, all right.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
That, you know why?
No.
Because he was fearful that I would not come back.
Well, good. I had some leverage then.
I've talked to Tony at length about a lot of these things.
Perfect.
If you
that
were
was good business then.
If you were to give Tony truth serum, he'd turn over this show to me.
Fine.
We might try that.
Well, good luck.
What is truth serum?
Never had it.
Truth serum I've ever had is
alcohol,
tequila.
Yeah.
You'll tell a lot of truth on tequila.
Get Tony drunk and safely, and see what he says.
I've spoken the word on tequila before. You know what I'm saying?
No.
I've given people the absolute truth.
You've made them uncomfortable?
No. Probably.
Yeah.
I don't do tequila and haven't for 3 decades.
Good decision.
Maybe longer than that. It doesn't hit me. It doesn't hit me well.
I got you. I can imagine.
But there was a time.
Yeah. Is the music playing?
No, the music's not playing.
Really? It's like 3:58.
No, here's what Tony has told Max. Bob's on a roll. Don't play the music.
I think we're off the air, aren't we?
No, but Max is enjoying the hell out of this conversation.
Well, I'm trying to wrap it up.
Why are you trying to wrap it up?
Just don't want to get in too deeply involved in anything and have to cut it off.
There's the music.
There you go. The aforementioned music.
Tomorrow, we have Jesse Newell from the Kansas City Star. We'll talk Chiefs. And we have Mark Blackham, the general manager of the Hutchinson Monarchs. They are the defending champions in the NBC World Series. We'll talk with Mark about his team. We look forward to it. We hope you're here. Have a good night.
Is your child struggling with a specific subject or need help with homework? Are they asking questions that you're not sure you can fully answer? IXL Learning is an online learning program for kids. It covers math, language arts, science, and social studies. IXL is designed. This program will improve your kids' grades. Studies done in almost every state in the country. The kids who had IXL are consistently doing better. Powered by advanced algorithms, IXL gives the right help to each kid no matter the age or personality. And it doesn't have to eat up all your time. One subscription gets you everything for all the kids in your home, pre-K to 12th grade. So don't miss out. 1 in 4 students in the U.S. are learning with IXL. IXL is used in 95 of the top 100 school districts in the U.S. Make an impact on your child's learning. Get IXL now. And listeners can get an exclusive 20% off IXL membership when they sign up today at IXL.com/audio. Visit IXL.com/audio to get the most effective learning program out there at the best price.